Saturday, the 20th of October, in London, the Trade Union Congress led a march of thousands to voice opposition and propose alternatives to the austerity measures which have been implemented by the Cameron administration in response to the banking crisis and reported recession. According to the TUC, some 150,000 people marched.
Why are you here today?
Because the government is ruining my future. My pension's been cut. I've been paying into a pension scheme for 17 years and they're about to change it, or they have changed it, and I'm not happy with the way things are, so I'm up here protesting.
I'm here to fight for the future for the youngsters, for the children, for the jobs. Yes, I have one child, 17, no jobs at the moment for children.
Yeah, I graduated last year. Most of my friends the same age as me, they also graduated. The ones that have got jobs had to start off with heavily casualised labour in working for employment agencies in call centres. That is an issue, I think, affecting a huge number of young people, though actually we're in quite a privileged position. I've already been to university and I paid around £3,000 fees. Now fees are more at £9,000, and there are people who are approaching their sixth form who can't get the education maintenance allowance.
I mean, it's taking education away from the people who, need it. Those that can pay can always go and pay, unfortunately. But, they're trying to destroy our state education system. I see it as a really serious attack on people's life chances.
I am here today to support the Royal College of Nursing to reduce the cuts on nurses and also to reduce the age of pension.
It's cuts all round. We haven't got the staff we need to provide frontline services for cancer patients.
Health and Social Care Act, as it now is, actually did what the coalition said they were not going to do, which was an imposed top-down reorganisation of the NHS. So the structures of the NHS have changed a lot, not for the better, and all towards the direction of privatisation of health services. And the only chance of saving that situation is for the Labour Party to say now, hey, we the Labour Party are saying to you, the private sector, that when we get into office in 2015, we are going to take back what you've got and we will not give you any compensation. And that should put off shareholders now.
Has any benefit for you personally been cut?
I'm going to be facing more work tests, and that means my benefit could be cut.
Have you seen these tests yet?
I've been through a work test already for the SA.
And you passed or failed?
I passed.
You passed. But you're concerned that you might...
Well, yeah, because after the last test, my muscles on my back got damaged. So, because I was trying to hold my arms up to the side and I couldn't, and my back got damaged out of that.
The trade union movement in Britain, along with a whole range of civil society groups, wants to see a Robin Hood tax. We believe that a small tax on financial transactions, essentially speculation and gambling by banks, could produce enormous sums of money, about £20 billion a year in the UK, twice as much as the VAT increase produced. That could be used to tackle poverty here and abroad, tackle climate change and so on. But it would also, at the same time, clamp down on risky behaviour by the banks.
Here we go, make some noise!
At pivotal corners in the march, there were chartered London buses made into makeshift performance stages to seemingly keep the crowd entertained. It was reminiscent of Mardi Gras marches and seemed to belie the seriousness of the possible pending actions that may need to be taken to encourage the government to shift its focus away from austerity measures and towards some of the alternatives being debated by various think tanks and economists.
The government wants to build 8 new nuclear power stations around the country, and they've also said that it will be done with private investment, and that's turning out to be a great lie. There's an energy bill going through at the moment that's actually going to embed public subsidies into nuclear new build, and it means that we're going to be paying for it through our taxes and through increasing energy bills. The UK government is always telling us we need to keep on producing more energy to provide more power for more toys. The German government is actually being realistic and saying we live on a finite planet and we can't keep on consuming more and more. Well, if Germany can do it, why the hell can't we?
And why the hell can't we? What do you think is stopping?
That's the $24 billion question.
There are several key steps that the government could take to implement a greener economy. Creating green jobs is relatively simple. There's lots of recycling needs doing. Homes need insulation. We need things like wind farms and so on, and those wind turbines need to be built. That's the sort of investment that we want to see, which would create jobs, demand skills and produce jobs for skilled workers, and also reboot the economy in a way that was more environmentally sustainable as well as more sustainable generally. Over the last 20 or 30 years, a myth has grown up that what's good for the City of London is good for Britain, and actually we think that's not true. Very often banks have done things which have been bad for the real economy. There's also a belief that these people are the masters of the universe who know best, and as the latest crash demonstrates, they really do not. But what's more worrying is that what's happening is the City of London, with its vast amounts of money, is actually paying the politicians to run their elections, to get elected into government. And so the government finds it very difficult to distinguish between their interests at representing the people and the interests of the City of London, who are representing the rich.
I think the people on this march know that this coalition government are not for ordinary people. And what's happening, of course, is ordinary people are now gathering together. They're demanding change, and if that means that we have to get on the streets later with strikes, of course we'll do that as well. I think you've got to give unions a chance to build that momentum. It's going to come from the trade union movement. I think we have to be honest about that. And you've got to get people into a position where marches like this, that momentum carries on after this. That's the important thing. Today's about momentum, building that momentum, and I think you will see that move to that position within the next 6 months.
The march was 3 miles long, starting at Embankment, past Parliament and Trafalgar Square, ending up at Hyde Park, where there were speeches by politicians and trade union leaders who were received by a responsive, if not always agreeable crowd. The streets were cleaned up of any sign of a previous protest, with the now world-famous London Olympiad efficiency in the logistics of public offence.
Yeah, lot of rubbish. Yeah.
Well done.
There's so many people here that clearly are willing to give their time, and it's a shame that there's nothing more that we can kind of all work on together that might be a bit more productive than this.
I think it's great that so many people are concerned, but I think my experience here today on the Occupied Times table has been yet again, saying, what are we going to do about it? So I guess, I think people want a more radical way forward. A lot of people are looking to Greece, and what's happening in Greece, and my own feeling is that Greece is being used almost as an example to the rest of Europe.
We've known from the Portuguese and Greek experience that austerity doesn't work in practice. We now discover from the International Monetary Fund that it doesn't work in theory either, because the IMF in the last couple of weeks has produced research which shows that actually if you cut back on government spending, especially in a time when you've got very low interest rates, then you are effectively slitting the throat of the economy. And that obviously massively impacts on ordinary people. So the theory and the practice is now lining up, and people in government have got to start understanding that they need to invest, not cut back.
Inka Stafrace reporting for The Real News.